Brought to you by DistroKid, the easiest and fastest way to get your music into places like Spotify, iTunes, YouTube Music, and many other streaming services. I've been using DistroKid for a couple of years now, and I honestly feel it's one of the best investments I've made in myself as a musician. Being able to upload unlimited albums and singles for $20 a year is still mind-blowing to me, and getting paid for streams on top of it makes it a no-brainer. If you're planning on signing up, use the code below and save 7%. On to the video. Hey guys, my name is JAde and welcome to Dallas Jamming. In this video, I wanted to talk about why you should treat every new piece of gear that you get like a new instrument, because that's really what it is. Sometimes it's really easy to fall in the trap of getting excited about new gear and buying new gear, but you're not realizing the commitment that you're making every time you pick up a new piece of gear. Especially if it's not a keyboard and it's a groove box or a sampler or any device that requires a deep learning curve. You have to think of each of these devices as their own instrument. Every time you pick up a new device, that's a new instrument that you're committing yourself to learn. And if you're constantly switching things out, you're never going to be able to learn it to that full capacity that you see other people performing with, and you're like, wow, how can I do that? And what's funny is that a lot of the times when we see artists that we admire using machines, we're like, wow, it's the machine, like I need that machine. But no, it's not the machine at all. It's the artists that spend years being able to express themselves through this machine. Keyboards are a little different because I am a keyboard player and a synthesizer collector, but at the end of the day, keyboards are just black and white keys. It's not going to take you that amount of effort to learn a keyboard. It really depends on how well you can play the keys. Yes, every keyboard has a different layout, but they're mostly kind of similar. You have your filter, your ADSR. It's kind of in the same environment. But when you're talking about a groove box or a sampler, that's a whole different workflow that you have to learn. And even with keyboards, like this Yamaha Montage, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface on this thing. This thing is so deep. But I can play keys, so sometimes I'm not really trying to get deep into sound design and all this crazy stuff that it can do. Sometimes I just want to play keys. So that's already an instrument that I feel comfortable with. If I were to pick up a flute or a saxophone, you have to think people spend decades trying to master these devices to be able to perform at a level where they feel comfortable with, right? Another thing to think about is that with a synthesizer setup, this is kind of like your orchestra. That's kind of how I like to look at my synthesizer setup. I am the conductor and I'm here controlling all of these things. I need to be able to be comfortable with each of these devices. So really setting aside time to play with those devices individually before you add them to your setup, I think it's really important. Sometimes when we get a new piece of gear, it's really easy to just add it to the chain, MIDI out, okay, now it's part of our synthesizer setup. But you should really focus on that specific gear on its own, because when you're jamming and you have a new device and you don't know what you're gonna do with it, chances are you're probably not gonna use it as much as everything else that you're already comfortable with. That's why I feel it's really important to treat every piece of gear that you get like a new instrument that you're gonna have to dedicate time to learn. Because if not, you're just gonna be switching things in and out, you're never gonna learn anything to its full potential, and you're never gonna be able to use those machines the way that you see other people use them, people that you admire. So next time that you're thinking about picking up a new device, really ask yourself if you even need something like that. Do you already have anything that does something similar with samplers? You only really need one or two samplers. Even with keyboards, you don't really need more than one keyboard. Really having more than one keyboard is a luxury. And at the end of the day, it's really about how well you can play that instrument that you have, because owning a bunch of gear doesn't make you a better musician. That's it guys, stay fly, and I'll catch you in the next one.